Here's more wrestling news for July 23rd, 2022, and we're kicking off with SmackDown as the show saw the continuation of the Liv Morgan-Ronda Rousey feud ahead of SummerSlam. It may not be the most intense feud in WWE today, but it's worth remembering that Morgan is still in the infancy of her title run. Her promos and character have shown clear signs of improvement, and she is remaining popular with fans each week. However, from how this feud is played out, WWE still seems indecisive over who will walk out as the SmackDown Women's Champion at SummerSlam. We can't count out that Charlotte Flair could return next Saturday, giving WWE a double DQ finish and protecting both Morgan and Rousey, but WWE will have to decide eventually who's going to win this feud. July 2022 has certainly been the month of Liv Morgan, but this push isn't just to the skills of the latest Miss Money in the Bank and the reigning SmackDown Women's Champion. In the latest Wrestling Observer newsletter, Dave Meltzer reports that Morgan's push was influenced by the actions of Sasha Banks and Naomi, who walked out of the May 16th Raw over creative differences with WWE. Part of the reason, if not the key reason, for the recent push of Morgan was the walking out of Banks and Naomi. When they left, the idea was that SmackDown needed a new top-tier woman babyface, and Morgan was the one who got the pick of the draw. It also worked out because the fan base was ready for her. Perhaps if they hadn't walked out, it'd be Banks or Naomi who would be holding the SmackDown Women's Championship right now, but their loss has proven to be Liv Morgan's gain. SmackDown also saw Sheamus seem like he was ready to face Drew McIntyre after weeks of dodging matches with the Scottish Warrior. Instead, though, Sheamus delayed the match for another week, promising the first ever Donnybrook match, where anything goes except the use of swords. It should be a fun, hard-hitting bout, and will likely mark the conclusion of the Sheamus-McIntyre feud, which has gone ahead without the two actually wrestling. There is also the question as to why this match isn't happening at SummerSlam, but instead the day prior, as with this stipulation, it could easily have fit on the premium live event. With the winner of the match earning an undisputed WWE Universal title match at Clash at the Castle, expect both men to pull out all the stops as we hopefully finally get the long-awaited match on next week's SmackDown. Last year, WWE made headlines by signing Gable Steveson to a contract as part of their Next in Line program. Steveson may be versed in amateur wrestling, being an Olympic gold medalist, but he's also getting some extra training from a former WWE superstar. Speaking to Insight, Ken Anderson, aka Mr. Kennedy, has confirmed that he's been showing Steveson the ropes, and the pro wrestler/trainer said he has some of his best students working with the Olympian. Saying that Steveson has an amazing innate ability that you just can't teach, Anderson has a high opinion of his student, who seems poised to take the world by storm down the line. Whatever Steveson does next, it's highly likely he'll succeed, but in spite of his WWE contract, his next big move may not be in the company. Despite reports that WWE wanted to fast-track Steveson to the main roster, the Olympian hasn't had a match in WWE yet, and as reported in the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Steveson is considering other future options. They made a big deal of him being drafted to Raw. The idea was for him to become a regular on Raw after this past semester ended at Minnesota, but he hasn't been used, and he's talked about returning to college to go for a third NCAA title in 2023, and even pondered, if that was the case, going for a second gold medal in 2024. WWE were very pleased to have Steveson under contract when he signed, but the idea that they may have to wait until 2024 before he begins as an on-screen talent could easily change those minds, and we'll just have to see if it's months or years before Gable Steveson is a fully fledged WWE superstar. Yesterday, Triple H returned to the role of Executive Vice President of Talent Relations, and that's bad news for John Laurinaitis, who remains on indefinite leave from the company. With Vince McMahon gone, the future does not look good for the former general manager of Raw and SmackDown, and he's not expected back at all. Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful has learned that Laurinaitis is effectively done with the company, and that no one seems too upset about this. It was said that some of the company's top superstars celebrated, with one branding Johnny Ace as a snake. Laurinaitis' popularity within the locker room is a well-known fact by now, as he is often blamed for the poor treatment of female superstars for years and was infamously blasted as a Vince McMahon yes man during CM Punk's infamous 2011 pipe bomb. Triple H, on the other hand, is well liked and respected in WWE, and while Laurinaitis is seemingly finished with WWE, he shouldn't be expecting a goodbye card from the roster. Over to AEW next, as Santana was injured during the recent Blood and Guts match and has now had to go under the knife. The Wrestling Observer newsletter reports that Santana has had reconstructive knee surgery and looks to be out for around 8 months. With Santana and Ortiz reportedly having a real-life falling out and Santana teasing his AEW contract ending soon, his future remains unclear, but one thing we do know is that he won't be wrestling. WWE has been dealing with a lot of injuries as of late, with Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, and Rhea Ripley all on the shelf, and now Sami Zayn is also out. In the Wrestling Observer, it's confirmed that the arm sling Zayn was rocking on last week's SmackDown is because he's legitimately hurt. Thankfully, the former Intercontinental Champion is only expected to miss a few weeks of action, far quicker than the months Rhodes is expected to miss or the indefinite amount of time Ripley and Orton will be out. Zayn hasn't wrestled since competing in the Men's Money in the Bank ladder match earlier this month, and fans will have to wait a bit longer before he's back in the ring. Last year, Braun Strowman was released from WWE in a shocking move considering the push he had received for years. Strowman has since competed for Control Your Narrative and has kept himself busy with numerous projects, but this week was involved in a serious car accident. On Twitter, the former Universal Champion shared a photo revealing that his truck and boat were wrecked in the crash, but he's happy that nobody was hurt. Since his release from WWE, Strowman has continued to hype up Control Your Narrative, even if it has made little impact so far, but regardless, we're glad Braun is safe after his nasty collision. Now, Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo have been a tag team for some time now, but are yet to hold championship gold in WWE. The pair have been portraying Latin lovers with a kiss cam gimmick that brings some laughs to the show, and given that they're cousins, it makes sense that they work well together. It's no secret that Angel and Humberto are related in real life, but in an interview with Sean Ross Sapp, Garza said that this is something WWE didn't know when they first tried out. Garza said how WWE should have known this, especially as they tried out for the company together and lived very close together in Orlando. There was a time when WWE reportedly saw Garza as this generation's Eddie Guerrero, but any plans for a push resembling Latino heat seem to have been dropped. But at least he can always rely on his cousin, even if WWE didn't know they were related. And we're ending today with Biff Busick, who proved himself as part of WWE NXT, working under the name Oney Lorcan. Busick was released by the company in late 2021, one of many to fall to the dreaded budget cuts, but he's now stepping away from the ring entirely. The last time Busick wrestled was at a Beyond Wrestling event on June 12th, and on Twitter, the former superstar explained that he is taking a break from wrestling. In his tweet, Busick apologized to all the promoters who have messaged him but that he hasn't replied to, and gave no indicator of when he will be taking bookings again. After his non-compete clause expired, Busick was incredibly active outside of WWE, but those days are long gone, and we'll have to wait and see when the former NXT superstar wrestles again, if he ever does. Well guys, that's our news for today. Please share your comments below. Also hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to receive all notifications. And as always, thanks for watching.